So here we are on the assault of Malmo, and I've started again with B-Bow's wing. Interesting things happened. You got a continuation. First bridge didn't go across over here. This bridge he moved up, making another attempt on that bastion. Now, over here there's an interesting situation because I've got a Danish unit sitting on an effective bridge, but he really can't do anything. He ought to assault. I think I will actually at this point. He ought to make an assault just to try to get himself killed, but right now the Swedes aren't even firing at him because they don't want to wipe him out. Anyhow, what's interesting is B-Bow led this formation, this currently formation broken unit, across the Ravelin, knocked the light unit out of there. That actually is what broke the formation, is hitting that. And that's the routed unit here. Then he managed to actually take the gate itself. Now, it was at, what, -1? Trying to remember what the odds were. Why were they higher? I don't remember. Trying to remember why he... Anyway, he rolled very well and knocked the oh yeah, because he's got pikes and the defenders don't. So he knocked the defenders out of there, and he's got a bonus because B-Bow's a stronger leader. However, here's the bad thing, and that's special to this scenario. B-Bow got killed in the attack. They captured a gun, but he's not going to be the dynamic force that right wing had. So that's going to create some problems for the Danes. However, it wasn't that hard to get through there. Problem is this little bottleneck here. Now, I don't want to actually assault there yet, but at the beginning of next turn perhaps. We're going to have a new leader come on for that wing, who's not quite as effective. Meanwhile, I haven't started yet over on the other sides. Rather remarkably, this is after the Danish turn and actually partway into the Swedish actions, but the Danes have made significant little breakthroughs. Now, a number of their units have been driven back. See some, got even a kill here, and got some Swedish infantry, light infantry, while the Swedes were trying to turn around. The fighting under cover of night has reduced the amount of casualties that the Danes have taken as they advance. They also probably cheated a little bit, just why we're seeing this particular position. I think I was giving penalties to the Danes for being on the wall, or to the Swedes for being on the walls that they didn't deserve. But now we're seeing the Swedish counterattack try to drive them off the walls. And I'm going to leave it as it is because it's kind of an interesting situation, even if I cheated. We got Swedish cav hitting the infantry here. We've got them trying to move here. We've got them in charge formation, actually, charge orders. They're pulling people out of the citadel to try to defend the city itself, seeing that this is beginning to withdraw. They're not pulling everything off that line. If they did that, they might be losing it. But overall, it looks like a really interesting situation, actually. A couple lucky die rolls with the bridging. Got a 1, 2, 3 assault bridges in place, plus this fourth one here. Alright, I'll be back in a moment to see what happens after the Swedish attacks take place. So the Swedes managed to take care of the problem over on the right wing. Now, the only problem is this weak unit here now has an open bridge walking up to that bastion with the cannons on it. We should flip that over. Which are not facing them, so they're not going to get an easy reaction. The problem is that unit happens to be formation broken and standing as a roadblock on that bridge. It can do nothing except attack. I may have to change, I'm going to try to change the formation orders from charge to rally, not to rally, to receive charge actually, or possibly make ready. The key being to try to get that unit out of the way so I can start the attack again. Over here I've got to kind of stay focused in charge. Nothing got pushed off. The cav got knocked back after they attacked here. But otherwise the Danes seem to have a couple little footholds. And got a couple of routing Swedes. They're going to head back towards the castle. If there's not room for them when they get there, then they have to roll on the kind of retreat table. Wherever that is. Over here. Alright, I guess that's the end of 2. Well, the unattended Swedish cannon that had been in this bastion convinced the Danes to take their first initiative over on their right flank again. And they charged forward, as they had to, being in charge formation, moving up into the ravelin, took some fire, didn't succeed in taking the hex they attacked. They actually were at a total -1 hitting that gate, so you couldn't expect them to take it, as it were, at all. But yeah, I don't know, the game can be pretty random. They got a retreat result but couldn't go anywhere, so they had to roll on the table and they managed to stay. But what did happen was there was a light infantry unit over here that was formation broken, but it could take the cannon alone. When it did, though, it took fire and disintegrated. They rolled for a continuation. It didn't happen. Now we're going to go over to the Swedes, who, because they're in charge mode, get the next turn. Swedish fire and, to some extent, Danish attacks, more than anything else, have cleared the walls for the most part, except of this one Danish unit, which continues to pursue it. Now it's hit something big right there, which it's not going to be able to brush aside, and it's in much worse shape then. It's been just kind of clearing up light infantry. Now light infantry aren't complete pushovers in this because of the fortifications. As long as they're in the fortifications, you actually have to fight them. But still, heavies have a +2 to their combat for it, so they're fairly easy to push aside. However, it's not absolutely trivial, as this guy knows. You know, anytime you're rolling the dice in this game, there's a chance something bad happens, it seems. So the other Danish assaults in the center have gone, and they really haven't gained any ground. This unit was destroyed. The Swedes attacked whatever unit was up here on the wall. Disabled guns are noted that the unmanned cannons, you have to have infantry in the hex to get any kind of bonus at all, have been disabled. We're just throwing the regular guns that are destroyed up here. I don't think there are any victory points for knocking guns out in this one. Alright, so the Danes managed to hold on to 2 of their bridges and move forward onto this one. But this key bridge is going to fall because they have no one on it and no one next to it, as is this one. And they're really going to have to consider shifting this force over to here along with this force, and just try to make the assault in the center where they've got any chance at all at this point. It's kind of a shame because they knocked out some of the gun emplacements down here, but they're just not getting the momentum, and those emplacements are gone. They can, if it turns out that that's the better place to attack, they can swing back. There's not a whole lot of time in this scenario, however, so I wouldn't count on that. I think that they probably are going to move forward where they are. It's kind of a shame for them because it looked like they were doing quite well before. Now they've been driven off the wall for the most part, and I just don't know if they can succeed, because once their bridges are gone, they're going to have to go over these main causeways, and those are harder to fight across. Those are expected weak points in the fortress, so there's more penalty to being on them because the designers of the fortress built the firing lanes, etc., to take advantage of them completely. Got up one whole fresh wing coming and another bridge that might be able to help things a little bit. I'm not sure. So here we are at the end of turn 3. We have a new Danish commander in the center. A couple of big heavy units that got knocked back in the fighting over that bridge that's now gone ended up routing off the map. We're beginning to see some serious casualties mounting up on the Danes' side. That's a lot of infantry there. All their leaders. Sorry, a lot of infantry, all their leaders, a couple. Another heavy. And the Swedes have lost a couple of lights, and that's it. It doesn't look like this assault's working. Obviously, I'm going to continue with it. That's what the scenario is about. But I think it's a failure. Trying to figure out if I can see a way to slip through here. Problem is, once I move adjacent, I'm locked, supposedly. Even though I'm in front of the wall and I can't do anything to cross that moat, I'm supposedly locked in combat as far as I can tell. That means I can't slip around and get this soft underbelly back here, which doesn't have a moat, and I could conceivably attack if I could get them. Another option would have been to try doing the same along here, but the same issues in play. So I think the back is completely an impossible thing to sneak around to. Kind of regretting this gun I put back there given that. So things one learns the first time they look at a situation, I guess. But the attack on the front of the fortress, it looked promising for a while, but now I'm not really, I'm not seeing any good chance of it. Especially, see, as long as this bridge was here, it looked like there was some promising chances, and I made 2 assaults across that bridge that had good odds. Not great, but good. +1 or whatever. It's about the best you can do in this thing. Not in the musket and pike, but against these walls and everything. It's tough to get good units across there, to get good attack odds. They didn't go anywhere, and now I've got one focus area, and then clearing the guy off the wall was huge too. And now there's one little area where there's a real threat at all. We'll see. Things can turn fast in this game. Swedes are kind of dallying in terms of getting anybody out of there too, which, if they can manage to get people out of the castle and onto the walls, I think it's all over. But got the Swedish units routing as well, but that's no big deal. Worst comes to worst, they go to the castle and stay there. Alright. I guess I'm going to send this one up.